Hey everyone, welcome to Broadheads and Brass. So I'm going to start off with just a little bit on why I'm starting Broadheads and Brass. And I think the main reason why I'm going to start this and I'm jumping into this full force, 2 feet in, is I fell in love with it. I'm extremely passionate about outdoors. I always have been. I grew up on a farm running horses, riding horses, baling hay, all that fun stuff. Um, and I got to go out to the stand with my grandfather once or twice, maybe a handful of times. Never shot anything, went out with a rifle, but he didn't really show me the ins and outs of hunting, the purpose behind it, outdoorsmanship, the reason being why we hunt, bringing food home to the family, God's purpose, God's land. So there's a lot behind it, and there's a lot that I'm learning, and that's another reason why I'm starting it. Is I know there's a lot of people out there like me. I'm 2.5, 3 years into hunting now, right? And I don't know everything, but I'll be the first one to admit it, right? I joined the army of all things that I could have joined. I joined the army, so I'm not the brightest, but that's besides the point. Not an ASVAB waiver, so let's put that on the table. Not an ASVAB waiver, but I'm not the smartest, but I like to learn. I want to be able to continue to learn, continue to meet people, because everybody that I've met that is a hunter, that is an outdoorsman, is true to their heart, true to what they're doing. Obviously, I will say, obviously, I've seen enough YouTube videos. There are people out there just trophy hunting, looking for the biggest antler, looking for the biggest rack, whatever it is. But for me, I think that there's so much more behind it. And I think there's a lot more that I can learn, obviously, this year specifically. Obviously bow hunting is going to be kind of my primary focus. I am a big gun person, so there will be guns involved in this channel quite often. But I think bow hunting, it takes a lot more than to just pull the trigger. I did get my best buck that I've ever gotten this year with a rifle. I'm running a 6.5 Creedmoor, and I love that rifle. But I'm also running my bow that I've got. I'm going to jump into my bow setup here in a second. But I think with bow hunting, it takes a lot more skill. It takes a lot more practice. I just took I don't know, 30-minute video of me shooting, and I'm running different broadheads because of, the deer that I shot earlier, which I'll get into here in a second. But, I think bow hunting, it takes a lot more. It takes a lot more patience. It's a grind. It's a mental. What are you doing wrong? You're tweaking it. You didn't do something right, and that could blow your shot. Um, luckily for me so far, it's probably going to happen. I can almost guarantee it. I'll miss a shot. But the shots that I have taken, I got a buck my first time that I went out bow hunting. Last year, I was running a Rage Mechanical with a little bear, $300 bear bow that I got from Bass Pro or Cabela's. And I love it. My wife's running it now. We're actually going to do a video later on. I'm going to set that up for her. I know it's kind of tail end of the season, but she wants to run it, so we're going to set it up for her. I've already got her arrows and everything, and I'll do a whole another video on that. But for bow hunting, like I said, it takes a lot more, but it doesn't also matter whether you're running a Hoyt and this isn't a Hoyt, but this is a PSE, whether you're running a Hoyt or a Matthews, PSE, a Bear, a Blackout, whatever it is. As long as you're doing things the right way and you practice, you can put animals down. But there's a lot more behind it, which I'm going to jump into now on, a little bit behind my bow setup, and probably a lot more that I'm going to change. But this is actually my father-in-law's bow. He gave it to me. I spent the money and got him a Darton, because he's had this bow for a long time. And, out of anybody that's deserving, he absolutely deserves it. So, I'll run this thing for a while. Maybe I'll get lucky enough and, I'll buy myself another one. Speak of the devil, here he comes. But I'm running the PSE. I've got a Trophy Ridge 4-pin right now, so 20, 30, 40, 50. Got a small little stabilizer, might run a bigger one here in the future, just a little whisker biscuit. I do want to get a drop down rest, but that's in the future, nothing crazy. Howdy! As far as everything else that I'm running, nothing crazy with the bow. I'd say bow setup maybe 280, 290 FPS, 30-inch draw. So as far as the arrow is concerned, I'm running a 30-inch arrow, axis 5 millimeter, 300 spine. 10.7 GPI match grade. This is running about 530, 540 grains with a 100 grain head and a 75 grain insert. But that's everything I'm running right now. And the reason I'm running this specific setup is the first one that I shot this year, the first deer, different arrow, full different setup actually. Um, and I was running a Rage mechanical, and it was a good shot. It was the biggest buck that I shot with a bow, and I never found him. Good blood trail. I have a video of it, which I'll post maybe with this. Kind of going back on the back and forth, and there'll be another video talking about mechanicals and broadheads and why I'm doing this, right? But biggest thing for me with just any hunting, is getting the animal down the best way possible, the most humane way. You don't want the animal to suffer. Your purpose is to harvest the animal, get the meat, and provide for your family. So if you're wounding animals, right? I'm not a big fan of these people taking 1,000-yard shots, on deer or elk or whatever it may be, But that's for likes and clicks and things like that. They don't show the missed shots. You're going to miss a shot at 1,000 yards. You're going to miss a shot at 600 yards. It's going to happen. You're going to clip an area animal. It's the same thing with bow hunting, right? If you're taking a shot on an animal over, I'd say, ethically 40 yards, and me, I'm not saying there goes my bow. Look at that. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, you spend a little bit more than $7 on Amazon for the bow stand, right? So I just spent 45 minutes setting up my bow, and no, I'm just kidding. It's probably not going to be out of whack, but watch it be out of whack. I'm going to shoot another arrow after this just to double check. But back to what I was saying, ethical shots. I'm taking a shot on an animal. Probably I'm comfortable 30, 35. The deer that I shot this year with a bow was about 35. Shot him right above the shoulder, really good spot, but I think it hit bone. Hence why I'm running a fixed blade. When in the QAD Exodus fixed. So far, I love. I've got everything set in. It's flying straight, shooting my broadheads and my field points next together, right together. Kind of seeing how everything's flying. Knock tuned a little bit. Obviously, I haven't paper tuned, but I don't have a paper tune set up. That's a whole nother story. We're gonna get to that. But yeah, I mean that's a little prefix on why I'm doing broadheads and brass. It's something I enjoy, and I think that with how much more I can learn, it's going to be a learning experience for everybody else. And I'm excited for everybody that is already watching, has already started following, the different pages, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And I'm excited for you guys to be on the right. And I'm excited for everybody else that's going to join on in the future. So thank you guys, and welcome to Broadheads and Brass.